Chris? There we go. Hey, Texas Pinball Festival. How are you guys? Woo!
Hey, it's David's worst nightmare. I'm louder.
Yeah, well, some things I hear your voice at night too, so that's even worse.
I have no comment, but I'm sure Franchi has a few.
Yeah, well, he's always. Ooh.
So welcome everybody.
Yes, welcome.
We're having a little bit of technical issues where the conference room hates his laptop, so we have to move everything from laptop A to laptop B, which is on the approved list. So while Steve is messing with that, you have the peanut gallery of me and David to annoy you.
Well, not really. We should introduce everybody.
I guess
my
we
name
could
is
do that.
David Fix. I'm with American Pinball. I just sign checks and make sure everybody behaves themselves. I don't even do that.
That is
very
not
well.
true for so many reasons.
Next to me is Steve Bowden.
Hi, I'm Steve.
Let's have a round of applause for Steve.
Thank you.
And then our good friend Ryan McQuaid, who's
Hello.
our new engineer.
Yay, Ryan.
So normally
As
Steve
most
would
people
be-
here know you as Randy. But that's
Randy.
another story.
Oh.
The Randy.
Yeah, Franchi's still like, huh? I always called him Randy.
He's still not sure what my actual name is. So normally Steve would be the one that we had to say was summoned from the tournament area that he had to forfeit. But for once in my life, it was me. I'm actually still playing in that tournament right outside, and I had to come over here and forfeit my game. So that's cool.
Yeah, you were number one.
Normally
weren't
that's Steve's job.
you? So we'll get started. We're going to talk a little bit about barbecue. We're going to talk about everything that's going on in American, give everybody a big background. And I hope most of you guys have gotten to play barbecue, and we'll answer some questions. And we're gonna put to bed some nasty rumors, some misspoken statements, and we're going to tell it like it is. One thing I want to also recognize right now is that unfortunately we lost our designer, Barry Oursler, last year. Barry was a great friend. Over 20 years I've known Barry, and the team at American Pinball, of course, got these beautiful hats. All right, it's a beautiful hat. It says Barry O's Barbecue Challenge from American Pinball, and we're going to give this to Kathy Oursler, his widow. So Kathy, we have this nice hat for you.
Thank you so much, Kathy, for being here. It means the world to us that you're here.
Oh, yes. Listen, the whole family has been very supportive and has been excited and has basically just let American Pinball do its thing. And we were so happy to honor a great legend like Barry. Now, one of the vicious rumors, which I'm going to just state right away, is if you listen to podcasters, take it with a grain of salt, a bucket of salt. I don't care if you take it with a dump truck
So
full
much
of
salt.
Understand, if it's coming from the manufacturer, it's the truth. If it's coming from a third party, it's probably...
Guess.
Thank you, Mr.
Guess
Franchi.
at best.
Exactly.
That's why we put him in the front row. He can say the stuff we're not supposed to.
Yes. There you go. I want to say that there's another podcaster in the room who I love, besides Mr. Franchi, is Martin Abb with Pinball News, who has journalistic integrity, and he does it all very journalistic because he works for the BBC and he's been a good friend. So hats off to Martin, everything he does with Pinball News. Give him a round of applause there. And we go to, I don't know why, but I have the biggest bullseye on my back, and it's the quickest way to take shots, and, well, I live with it, so let's move on. So we're going to talk about this. One of the vicious rumors, and Steve can talk about this a little bit, was that this is not Barry's design, that this was a cocktail napkin that was just handed to us, and that is not true. So let me give you a little background. I've known Barry Oursler for 20 years. In fact, when I was looking for a mechanical engineer, Barry was at Deep Root. And I noticed that there was a woman who worked as his head mechanical engineer at Williams, known as Sophia Bill. And I reached out to Barry and I said, Barry, I'm looking for a mechanical engineer and I need this. You worked with this woman by the name of Sophia Bill. And he's like, yep, she's still in Chicago. Is she interested in working for American Pinball? He says, I'll call her. he did, and Sophia called me within 30 minutes. And 10 minutes after talking to her on the phone, she says, I'll be in on Monday morning for an interview, and I'd love to come back to work at American Pinball. That's a whole nother story for another time, but Barry was still at
Voldemort's, yeah.
it was what we call the unnamed pinball company that was here that kind of just imploded on itself. But I always told Barry if he ever wanted to come to American Pinball, give me a call. And then it was literally like 2 days after the announcement, Barry called me, and I said, let's get you started. And he started in August and started working. He had 3 weeks, he had something knocked together and showed it to me and Steve, and we're gonna show you that. And literally say Steve and Barry worked on this until his passing.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, let me go ahead with this.
Yeah, we'll back it up a little bit.
It wasn't his design, really. Okay, we can go live. Okay,
Yeah, you're
because,
good.
Okay.
Let's go to
can they see?
the screen.
We can go, we're live as we're gonna be, because, all right,
Okay.
can we get that?
We're as
Just
live
go,
as we're
just go
gonna be.
big. You
There
don't
we
have to
go.
show us.
Okay, so, man, all right.
All right.
Thank goodness. All right, so those of you who have played Barry's Barbecue Challenge will see how much similar it is to what's on the screen right now, which is one of the first renditions of Car Hop, what it was called at the time.
Correct.
So you can see how much similar it is. One thing that you can call out, and I'll give you this game for free because it's obvious, is that has some connections to Space Shuttle. Why? Because Space Shuttle was the first game I ever played of pinball, ever. So when I was working with Barry with this, was hoping that we could have some rendition of Space Shuttle in it, as sort of like a way to introduce us to American pinball. So
Absolutely.
I was working with Barry with it, and so this is one of the first versions of it. I have future versions that we can go through as far as what we went through, but yeah, you'll notice the barbecue pit targets here. You'll notice the opposing repeating ramps. You will notice the end lanes here. You'll notice the 4 top lanes for another certain reason, which we'll get to that. But
Pass these around?
well, we'll be able to see that. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we can pass that around. Sure, I've made it
You
to
wanna
that.
pass
I have
these around
those
a little bit?
I had those just in case everything went to heck and you couldn't see it at all. So that's why at least we have those so that you can see some of the first renditions of it.
So
go ahead.
while you pull that up, let me talk about this. So Car Hop was the original thing that Barry had kind of dreamed up. He had the idea of girls in short skirts and roller skates and just, swinging out to the cars and doing all that. And we kind of told him there was already a Car Hop game.
Get out of here.
Then we pitched him barbecue. Not only just barbecue, but the whole Americana, barbecue festivals that go on across the United States. We did a small, quick, and dirty, which I always call research. There are 3,872 family barbecue restaurants in the United States that are not chain. Okay, that's from all of the United States. And my wife and I love barbecue restaurants. We've been in most of them. I won't say all 3,000, but
Right.
most of them you go into, you see a jukebox, a claw machine, and maybe an old broken down pin. But this whole pinball machine kind of fitting into that location just started screaming so nicely. And then when we started talking about, Barry just thought, there's 5 barbecue restaurants around my house.
All of which he took me to. So, so this is not random.
What a
Okay,
day.
Barry.
What a day.
Barry took me. Yeah, maybe in one day. In one day. No, but yes, he did not mess around. Okay, I very much appreciated my visits to Barry's house to see his family and to eat his food. Right. That's right. You better get there 11 o'clock for lunch. My man Barry. Okay, so that's part of where the barbecue tie-in happens. Here you see another rendition of Car Hop with the Car Hop inserts. You can see certain things coming together in different ways.
The malt targets on the top.
Right.
Malt targets on
let's
top,
see,
and
this is
then
insert.
soda and whatnot.
Okay, this is one of the quick and dirty Like, come on, Adobe Acrobat, be my friend. Okay.
So-
One of the quick and dirty, let's put inserts on the thing and see if we can meld it to a rule set real quickly. And I wanted a playfield X. I wanted certain bonus counts. What's up? Can I, yeah, good. Can I zoom in with this? Maybe, okay, it does.
There we go.
There we go, this is better.
So these were just,
Professional.
quick and dirty. You see where we still had hop.
You see
We
the
had
burgers,
Lake
there's the
Mystery,
fries, right? And you can see that the drop targets are hiding over here on the right. So the original attempt at the idea was that maybe you would be able to sweep the drop targets from the left flipper into the hole for a different type of combo.
Which was a pretty neat idea. However, when we went to build it, if the drop targets are down that side, the ball's going to sit in the middle of those drop targets. It's not going to clear properly.
Right.
So we're like, ooh, that's not going to work.
That's understandably vetoed, right?
One of those wonderful ideas on paper, and then you get to play it on the
Yes.
table, and suddenly it's a ball trap, and all the features you thought would work don't, and like, but we wanted to keep it. We wanted to figure out how to keep the original vision. So when we had Dennis take a look at the game originally, it was Dennis, myself, and Steve. After we got the initial whitewood finished with no changes whatsoever to the playfield. Once we decided to change it, we unanimously decided that we wanted to change the game as little as possible.
Absolutely.
So all we wanted to do was optimize, make our shots work and flow right, but keep them right where they were as much as we possibly could. And then we all shook on it and went our separate ways to think about what to do about that. And Dennis came back to us the next day and said, I got it. We move them right over to that other lane, and now we have a space shuttle drops.
Yeah, it's the
Yep.
space
Which were
shuttle
everyone's
position.
favorite drops.
Exactly.
Right, it is the space shuttle position, which made me very happy. Which basically confirmed what I was going to push for at some point. I just didn't know how to, because we had the original vision, and so I'm like, well, if I want to get as close to space shuttle as I can, it would need to be in the space shuttle position. So let's open up, buddy. Let's see. So at least we can get to okay, there we go.
So it got rotated. We changed very little from there. We brought in the scoring post, which we had been perfecting already. We have this, we were working on this as a feature, which is a steel post with a rubber on it. And then it has an opto, so it can be scored from all 360 degrees if need be. But in this case, it's all the angles that is exposed. So we dropped that in the playfield, and then the game started coming together.
Right, so with moving the targets over here, which means you'd then have to move the ramp over here, which makes it a little bit tougher to hit, which is why certain rules naturally went in that place, which we will talk about later. We'll get to that.
It's tough but makeable. So what do? Pay them.
You gotta pay
You
them.
gotta pay 'em,
You gotta
that's
pay
right.
them for the shot.
Playfield X, done.
Playfield X,
now no one
done.
minds it being hard. Now we want it to be a little hard, right?
Right.
It's more satisfying when you hit it.
All right, so do we want to go into the locations versus meets debate?
Not yet, but
So actually, we're not quite that far yet, because it's around this time where I sort of showed up.
Oh, it's
Yes.
Ashlock time.
No,
Yeah.
we're not even that far yet.
Not
We're
in
not even that
Ashlock
far.
time.
Okay.
So I had actually just been hired at American Pinball when all of this was going on. I was not familiar with most of the first whitewood, or I was the first whitewood, not the first drawings and everything. That was actually Steve who showed me that later. But it was an unforgettable part of joining the American Pinball team. So I was out here on I was out in Chicago on one of my several trips out to the office before I had actually moved 6 months later. And I was out at a meeting at my then favorite breakfast place, Wildberry, with David and a vendor. We were talking about a new supplier for targets. And that is when David got the call. And I took one look at him, having known him for the last year and a half of my life, and I just said, what is it? Because I had never seen him look at his phone and then make that face before and then have no witty retort, no nothing. Just like, oh my God, what happened? And then he told me, and it was a very different my third day at the office after
Not
that.
even,
Third day of the
yeah, 'cause
office.
not even, because I remember when I had to give the news, and I'm sitting there in the office.
I
and I'm
walked
like,
in the
okay.
door and you're walking toward me shaking, and I said, "Come in, sit down." And I kind of had an idea, and he says, "Should I no, just stay right there." And we called Kathy, and we got the information. And understand that what was the toughest part for me was I had just talked to Barry literally 2-3 days before this, and we were sitting. He had already sent me the paperwork. I said, we're going to start putting the whitewood together. We were making plans for Barry to be out in a month or two, like the first week in April, to shoot the whitewood. Okay, and this literally this whole thing was just like a being splashed in the face with a bucket of wet water, cold water. And, well, we handled it. We reached out to all the people in the industry that knew him. We put together a nice press release that we said about, Barry. And one thing I want to talk about real quick, and this clears up another misconception. Prior to Barry starting with us, Barry had shared with me that he was not feeling well and that he's been going through stuff. And while he was at Deep Root, he was still, didn't know what was going on, and he was not happy. We made sure that the contract, or I pitched it to him. I said, Barry, let's put in for the royalties to go to the family. And he looked at me on the video screen. He says, can we do that? I said, of course. I can write that up. Understand, in the industry, most times royalties are dead. Once the family member is gone or they make a change to the playfield, there's no royalties going to the family whatsoever. And I did not like that ever. And in this case, I said to Barry, I says, this will give your family something. And he immediately said, okay, I'll do it. That sounds great. Let's do this. So I wrote it up and we put it in the contract. So that's a misconception that a lot of people had. In fact, until I sat down with Kathy about 3 or 4 hours ago, she didn't even know that was part of the contract that Barry put together with me. And I don't have to share that, but Barry was a friend for over 20 years, so of course I'm going to share that. And I held the company and I said, this is what we're going to do. And they were like, okay, that's what we're going to do. And that's what we did. So the royalties are still going on the sale of all the barbecue machines, will still go to the Oursler family. So we're happy about that.
Mm-hmm. So obviously that the news shook up everyone in the office quite a bit, and the day-to-day operations changed completely. So this was my third day in the office, and this is all happening, and we immediately had an all-hands-on-deck meeting after the news was shared. So that wasn't the purpose, and it was like, all right, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And that's when the team shared with us, everyone that didn't know already, so Steve and Fix showed it to us, that Barry had actually finished his first draft of his first design for us. And that is when we unanimously, as an entire company, decided to throw out our entire schedule. Everything we were working on got put on hold. This is the next game, full steam ahead.
Correct.
So I remember having mixed feelings that day. I was like, this is obviously the correct choice. And then I had the brief moment of, I'm not going to get a game out for 4 years. Huh, okay. Like, doesn't matter. So it was just everything changed, and we just completely pivoted on that moment, and it was what we all wanted to do.
Correct.
And as far as my part, I had, I guess, what you would call an oh crap moment, because I'm like, well, after I got the news and everything and I processed it, I had to think, well, wait a minute, that means I'm game designer.
Yeah, that's correct.
What a day.
I need help. So immediately, I used whatever knowledge that Barry had passed to me up to that point, and I had made my own decision as now designer and rules maker that this is going to be a Barry tribute game. Okay, so I took what I had written in the rules up to that point and began molding and melding them into other Barry things.
He ran to his office and started furiously scribbling down everything that was still in his head from conversations that you didn't know you had to write down. because you thought you'd just be able to have them again.
Right.
But suddenly it's, oh God, if I forget any of this, it's gone forever. So we didn't see him for half a day.
I tanked that day, and so I'm basically just trying to write anything down I could remember that I was going to ask him when he got here. Things I was going to ask him about skill shots, about everything. It was going to be like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? So that part is kind of what resulted into the first draft of what Barry Oursler's Barbecue Challenge would end up being, as far as what the rules are. I guess we'll get to how that happened in the later portion, because that's what I was trying to get set up here. But we'll get to that. You wanted to add something?
I was just going to add that you got to understand that you're talking about Barry, and I was a fanboy because I like Barry's games, and Steve loves Barry's games. And in fact,
Very much.
Steve's first game that he remembers playing was
It is Space Shuttle. I know
Space
where
Shuttle.
I was. I know I was 6.5. That the game came out December '84, right? I was in the Union Flea Market. I was between 6 and 7. Of course, the Union Flea Market in Union, New Jersey is now a Home Depot, because of course it is. But,
Of course it is.
But that's where I was. That's where I played my first game of pinball. And I saw someone playing this game, and I saw someone, shooting and doing stuff, and the number was getting bigger, and then they were shaking it, and I was like, wait, they're shaking it. I don't know what that means, because I'm 6 or whatever, so I don't know. And so once I got on there, I was a math head, so I liked that the numbers were getting bigger. I knew that, and I quickly didn't do double flipping very much, but that kind of hooked me. My parents were shopping, and I played Space Shuttle for very many hours.
And then you love Fire, don't you?
What was that?
Fire?
Oh God, I love Fire. So my first favorite Barry game was definitely Space Shuttle. It was the first tournament I ever won was on Space Shuttle. I chose it for the finals because it had been nice to me earlier. I remember that I thought 800,000 was a good score. It still is, but it was not tournament winning scores, turns out. But I won anyway, and it made me feel great, and I was addicted to Space Shuttle from there on out. That backhand and that spinner, I still wanted to put a spinner on this one, but they were like, we got him already. But then later on, I discovered a Williams Fire at Fun Spot in New Hampshire. So I didn't actually know Fun Spot was a big deal for the arcade community. It's not a big deal for the pinball people. They're starting to work on that, but no one in New Hampshire plays at Fun Spot because all the games are kind of crap. They're just run down, they don't take care of them. They're starting to, but they didn't at the time. Except for one, because one game was downstairs in the bar instead of upstairs with all the rest of the pinball. And that's because they had like a nice Hunter Lodge style theme going on with the bar. So they grabbed Fire, and they had it sitting down there where it wasn't getting destroyed and beaten on. So we ended up playing that game for 4 hours and drinking the whole time because the bar was right behind us. And I remember just whooping and hollering every single time I heard that bell ring, and it never got old. And then later on, I was actually able to find one for sale. I bought one from an ex-firefighter who wanted to get rid of it before it had to spend the winter in his barn. I don't understand what it is with pinball and barns. They somehow find their way in there. I don't get it. How many farms have pinball machines? At least one, or whatever.
So now we're in Texas. Go look in barns all over Texas. You probably will find pinball machines in there. You'll never know what you'll find.
We're going to shout outs to Home Depot again, because I wouldn't have been able to get that game home if I didn't go buy a Sawzall to cut the bolts out of the head to get it home that night. So shout outs to Home Depot for getting me my Fire, for being open on a Sunday at 11 o'clock. And then the fireman who sat there and watched me saws all those bolts off for 45 minutes. But I fell in love with Williams Fire, and I also, my friends fell in love with it, who I would bring over to play. I remember shout outs to my friend Frank Shepard, who that became his first and still favorite game to this day. So let's move forward. So
Let's get into VPX with Ryan.
We're going to get into VPX in a second.
So while Steve ran to his office instead of furiously writing down everything he could, I stole a copy of the drawing. Because my first start in pinball, I've done many homebrew seminars on how this is a great place to get started, is in the program Visual Pinball. So everything I do, I start here just because of how simple it is and how much information you can gain from the program. I don't use it as a final design process. It's just, this is my table napkin. I put it in here, and then I can flip it a little bit, see what works, see what doesn't, etc. That's something for a different seminar, but check it out. So anyway, I grabbed Barry's drawing and just went into my office, and I'm like, this is how I can contribute. So I spent 3 days overlaying the original drawing and setting every single thing I could into VPX directly, just as close to the original as I could find. And then I didn't tell anybody I was doing this because everyone was too busy doing their own thing, and I was so new, there wasn't really much else I could do.
Well, we talked about it, and I said, go for it, remember?
What was that?
Yeah, I told you to do it.
Did you?
Well, you brought it to me. Can I put this in there? I said, do it.
Oh, apparently for once in my life, I asked for permission.
No, you didn't. You didn't ask for permission. You just said, "Can I do this?" Or not?
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. Is what you kind of said.
Yeah.
And I said, "All right, I'm not going to stop you."
So when I finished it, I called David into the office and said, "Look, here you go. You can play Barry's game before we even have a single thing ordered." And lo and behold, it shot pretty well.
Yep.
Just in VPX with nothing changed, nothing edited, nothing optimized. It was fully playable. Every shot worked, and we ended up actually having the same problems with the drop targets. But we figured, it's probably just VPX being weird, whatever.
Right.
But David was just kind of floored because he hadn't seen my work with VPX yet, so he kind of went and grabbed everybody. And filed them into my office one at a time, and they were like, "What are we doing in the newbie's office?" And they're like, "You're gonna play what is now barbecue now, because we can." This is the best I could do right before the Texas, but just to give you a little bit of a.
Hey, it works. We just wanted to view
just
it
a little bit of a taste of what it's like for us. I managed to get multi-ball sort of functioning, so we can see how well it played in that as well. But this was just, it was a little invaluable tool, and this was my way that I could contribute to something that otherwise I wasn't really going to get to. I unfortunately never got to meet Barry. Fix had just talked to him about me for the first time that 3 days before everything happened, and he said, "I actually got a new kid in here for you to train. I have young blood, and I want him to learn everything you have to teach him." And he was very, very excited, and he said, "Tell him I can't wait to meet him." And then unfortunately that never got to happen. So
and understand something. Let me give you a little background, because I've known Barry for such a long period of time. Barry started at Williams in '72 from high school, and a guy by the name of Steve Kordak saw this guy's potential on the line and took him from the line and made him a game designer, and his first game was Phoenix. And he trained him. And now when Barry was coming to America, and I was kind of telling him I'm having some young blood, he wanted to train the next iterations, right? He wanted to share the knowledge that Kordak had shared with everybody, with him back in the 70s. And Steve loved Barry's games. Steve Kordak was the champion to Barry. I mean, he was like, Barry's going to be the next guy. Now think about this, guys. It's 2024, and on the floor this year, you have a Mark Ritchie, you have a Steve Ritchie, and you have a Barry Oursler. Isn't that amazing? This is just a total great. Yes, give them a hand of applause for all these guys, okay? I mean, all three of those titans have been doing things, and Barry was still able to bring out a game in 2024, and it's a fun game. But let's get into one of the problems that I had, and something I had said to Steve was, at some point, was Space Shuttle was great, but when the balls are locked, they're locked. Right? And I said this to Ryan, the balls are locked. And then Ryan comes up with this little epiphany and says, well, why can't we make them register when they're locked?
And they're all like, what? What are you talking about?
We're all like, what are you talking about? And Dennis is like fighting us. And
did my very best to explain it, but Dennis just did not understand what words were coming out of my mouth. He's like, well, I don't understand what you're talking about. If the ball's in there, the ball's in there.
Yeah, there's no way to do it.
Like, but no, not quite.
No. So I said to Ryan, I said,
just go build it.
Just go build it. And he
Just
did.
go build it.
And we built bash locks.
And it worked.
And it worked.
And you can't cheat them, which
And
is
you
the
can't
best,
cheat
because that's
them.
the first thing I tried.
I know you were ready.
I'm
You're like, I'm gonna
I'm
shake
ready.
it out of that lock.
I'm ready to Dracula these locks
I'm gonna
now.
nudge him to get him to score.
Back in Dracula, these locks, we have to go back to the
Yeah,
drawing board. And
but
so
even just the first version of them, he actually couldn't cheat, and he was like, I was ready to shoot this down, but I can't. It's
Right.
not stupid. That
And
became
Dennis,
a thing
Dennis
later
got
on.
behind it really quickly.
Yep.
And we kept drawing it, and some of them didn't work right. We had to bring Brian back in to recut the wood and repatch it to keep coming up with the right geometry to fit, and then we got it through the whitewoods. We finally got it.
Well, we had a lot of trouble with our playfield supplier because they just couldn't understand our drawing. They're like, what are you trying to do with this hole? Like, we don't understand. And we're like, just call us. We'll explain it.
We'll
It's
tell
not
you.
that hard. So they kept either beveling the whole thing or not beveling it enough. And like, I would just get sick of waiting, and I'm like, I'm gonna go fix it. Just don't worry about me. I'll be in the lab with wood filler and the drills, and if you hear screaming, ignore it.
We did. we ignored the swearing and the screaming and all the other stuff.
And in the end, it worked out.
It works.
And,
So the TLDR of this is that you will be paid to lock the ball. You will be paid to bash the locks. You will be paid to get the ball out of there, and then you will be paid to put the ball back in. That may not all be happening at this version, but yes, it will be happening. So you will be encouraged to not steal locks, because these aren't stolen locks.
No,
you keep your locks.
you keep your locks.
Aren't stolen.
Player to player.
Yep.
So if you happen to hit it well enough that it comes out, that's your ball, but you didn't take it from the other player.
They get to keep it.
Keep
We
it.
have modern features, and people love the idea of stolen locks. But when's the last time anyone actually was like, "Yeah, lock stealing" right before a tournament?
No.
And they didn't say it in that exact sarcastic tone.
Yeah.
So we wanted to figure out a way around that. I'm just happy that it worked so well, and that you and Casey, the coders, were able to make it so exciting. Because that was the other thing we were worried about, is that you'd bonk the ball and you'd be like, all right, did that register? Did that not work? Like,
Right.
why? And they were able to come up with a great light show of the fireworks that made me
Fireworks,
like squeal when I first
Well,
saw it. and-
before that, the testing, we had Joe Schober.
oh God, this is the best.
Joe Schober was sitting there going, "Dry left."
Yeah.
Everything on the
Dry
playfield before
right.
we had callouts was just
And it
Joe
was the most-
Schober's
it was the most-
monotone voice.
Dry left.
Spicy,
Spicy.
mild.
And it was
Dry
like,
hit
we're
right.
like, we need audio on this so badly. Dry left. You know.
I wish we left that in, honestly.
I think we need to.
We might-
One out of every
maybe-
100,
I think
just
it needs to be a
spicy.
secret or something.
secret code, just for Joe.
Tried to
when he
leave
plays
lots
it.
of Easter eggs and callbacks in.
So-
we have a
so-
little bit of that coming later. We got some trivia for you that Steve
Yes.
worked on.
So understand that
Family
we
Feud.
did some cool things, but we were going to do audio. We needed audio. And Mr. David Thiel was available at the time. And David was like, yeah, I knew Barry, and let's do this. So he was first on board. We were excited about that. And then there was another artist that I have worked with, and I was excited to bring him on board. He was going to do, he had, how do I put this? He was in the running to do Galactic Tank Force, but Mr. Franchi jumped ahead, so that was fine. I was glad to have Chris on that project. So Mr. Hughes, Dan Hughes, who was originally from WMS, he worked with Barry, and then he went to Elvin G, and he's been in the industry for a while, bouncing around, and he wanted to do a pinball with us. And so Mr. Hughes, Dan Hughes, he jumped on, it's Throttle Demon, and he knocked it out of the park. He worked with, of course, Jack Hager. Understand that our little team that we have Jack Hager, who was with WMS, who knew Barry. We also have the mechanical engineer, right? Zofia Ryan. And I remember sitting there and asking Zofia about the bash locks. And would Barry like this? And she goes, absolutely. Barry loved new ideas, new innovations, new things that could bring it to the game, anything. You know, we worked on, Miss Multi-Ball. We worked on all these other cool mechanisms with Barry. He just loved the idea of bringing toys and new features to the game. So I was like, okay, we're going to keep the bash locks in. We didn't call them bash locks at the first. We just called them, what did we call them?
I don't know. I found out about those a week ago.
The dry hit.
I found
The
out
dry
about
hit.
that name
Dry
a week
hits.
ago, and I'm like, that's much better. I'm glad
Yeah.
we got a good marketing guy now.
Well,
Shout outs to Ron. Where is he?
no, that was me.
That was you. You
I
came up with bash locks. All right,
yeah.
good, cool.
It was funny because I was like trying to think of like a bash toy, and then I thought of a lock.
All right,
I just
all
put
right.
bash and lock together. Then I took it in Jack's office, and Jack goes, "Why don't we call it smash locks or smash smoosh or smoosh saucers?"
Smash saucers.
Smash saucers. And
that
I
was
said,
good.
try to say that, smash saucers? Try to say that so many times. And he goes, okay, bash locks. Okay, that's fine. So we moved on with that.
We got 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We got a little more than that, but go ahead.
No, we don't.
Giving you a time check, that's
Yes.
all.
Right,
No problem.
Timing on
very
seminars
good.
is hard.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Fly through
Okay.
some things and you crawl through
So,
others. So go ahead, Steve.
This is a Barry tribute game. So,
Yes.
I guess we'll get to this and see if this works the way I want it to.
Yeah, it's game show time. Let's
Okay,
go.
so there are 11 Barry games
11 Barry games.
referenced in some way in Barry O's Barbecue Challenge. Some of them are on the play field, some of them you have to play to get, and some of them are not in there yet, but they will be because they're in my rules draft and it will happen.
Well, yes, it will happen.
So,
They're in green.
some
right?
of them you've already heard from us,
Yes.
all right?
Ooh, me first.
But
Space shuttle.
that is the
Okay.
obviously,
Is it on the board?
It is definitely.
Come on, number one answer.
If it will let me do it, the board, yes.
Yeah, Family Feud. Let's go.
So if right, let me. I'll list the references. The barbecue pit targets are in. There we go. So we have the barbecue pit targets to spell something. We have. Let me go back here. We have the 5x3 grid, which is here. Right.
Which
let's
was
zoom
the
into
famous grid in
5x3
the bottom,
grid,
Space Shuttle.
which is why I wanted it so much. We have the multipliers are lit in green, even
That's
that. Sierra Sue is a retired astronaut.
That is correct.
Saw shuttle.
From the sauce shuttle.
Stop and
T-shirts for
score
Saw Shuttle.
is
Stop
in the
and score.
game.
Yep.
That was nothing that was very important that I promised Barry that stop and score would mean something this time.
And that's the fire targets, isn't it?
Yes, all right. The sweepable drop targets, all right, up here. Where are they? Come down here. They're hiding. There we go. They're here.
Sweepable
They are
drop
sweepable from both flippers. All right.
Also get a bonus for specifically sweeping them. It was in the code, but it's not in the current build here. So the next update will have it. It goes sweep right across the screen. It's
Right,
so
and
good.
multi-ball can also be 2 or 3 balls. That's up to you. Just like on Space Shuttle, you can go for 2 or go for 3 balls. And the one that's not in here yet is that it will appear as the big prize. So you will know what that is in a future version. But
Here's a hint.
but-
You have to get to
it
space
is,
somehow.
there's the Space Shuttle in
Yes.
the art right
Yes.
here. So, okay, so moving on. That one was the gimme. So what's the one next to it that's really close? That's basically most of it, except for you will have to redock the balls into the saucers to get the big prize.
Want to give them their hints
Which
and they can shout it out?
Right, so which game has you redock the balls in order to get the jackpot? Space Station, yes. That is number 2. That is not ranked number 2, it's just the second one. These are not in order of rank, all right?
I just got arbitrarily excited for getting our answer number 1. Do we
Yes.
have any swag to give away for our people?
I can give away a few
Got some
things.
T-shirts for
Okay,
this?
because we're gonna get into the harder
Got
ones.
Space Station.
We're gonna get to the
Put them in a
harder
t-shirt.
ones. Okay,
But, yeah, okay, we'll talk about that. in a
we're gonna
second.
get to the harder ones.
Get to the harder ones.
Okay, so let me see if I can. Okay, well, here's one that's easier if you have seen the playfield, right? There was one here. Let's see, where is it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious.
Does anybody know? Huh?
Right in the middle.
He said Phoenix.
All right.
What's important about Phoenix?
Why is Phoenix important?
Say again, Martin.
Right, but why is that important as far as the lore?
Yeah. It is the name of the grill, but why is it, what about a Phoenix does it meet into the lore?
We talked about this earlier.
Huh?
I think I heard it.
First game. Okay.
There it is. Okay.
There it
I
is.
was about-
First game,
I was,
Phoenix.
I was about to go to IPDB, but I don't have to now.
No,
all
no,
right.
no, don't go there.
Because-
No, it is. It's his very first game.
Because, all right, there we go. And we will now reveal the third answer on the board. Kadang. All right.
Phoenix.
For a T-shirt, anyone know any more with no clues?
All right, I'm going to get my hand off the clip.
What's that?
Oh, I wish we had snail time in here.
There's no snail time.
No snail time in this.
Junkyard will be correct.
Junkyard is.
Junkyard will be correct. So
So junkyard, you got something. Come see us later.
Junkyard
Harley
will
Davidson.
be correct in that it will be incorporated into the wizard mode. And the reason why is because on one of the meetings that I had with Barry, and also on one of the dinners, we all had fun at his great games. We had Dracula, we had Junkyard. I then go to the wizard mode of Junkyard and beat it. Barry comes in and he says, "What the heck was that?" He then informs me that he had not seen that because he left the company before it was being developed.
Yep.
So I showed him Outer Space on Junkyard. So that
I've
is
still
why
never
that
seen.
will be correct in a future version
Yes.
of the game.
What else we got?
Barracuda, why?
Why is
Hi.
it?
Good man.
Thank you.
There we
The
go.
stacked
If you
top
have
no
lane.
clues.
Me
Yeah.
got it.
got it.
Barracuda.
Stalk us afterwards for your
We'll-
t-shirts.
You'll get. You got one and you got one. Yes.
Not only the stacked top lanes, but also the collect bonus rule will be in the game. When you get
Yes.
the top lanes and you have to collect the bonus on the top, there is a collect bonus insert on the playfield for that reason. It is not active yet, but it will be.
Fun fact, you can see a Barracuda from the Barrys in our booth.
That's right.
Just turn around and look to the right.
It's right there.
Beautiful purple powder coating.
All right, there's one that is obvious because it's on the playfield on the in lanes. Has anyone
Anybody
done
know?
this?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Fire is
fire.
on
Yeah.
Yes.
the in lane. Yes.
And the
Save my
firefighter
brisket.
too.
Save my baby
no.
back ribs.
Save my baby
Okay,
back
save my
ribs.
baby. Save my baby.
That's
Yes.
going to
baby
be a
back
call
ribs.
out.
Fire is what is used, also using the stop and score feature. So those are linked together.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep,
so
it is both a lane save if you go in the out lane or a hurry up. So I'm not hurry up, but the stop and score on the inside.
stop and score, right? So, but in related to the lore of the story is that yes, you're at the barbecue festival. So if your barbecue equipment goes out of control, you have to put out the fire. So that's what links us to the actual barbecue game.
Ooh, there's some consequences
So
for
we
me
have a
missing
prize for
those.
him.
I didn't realize my whole thing was
Got
burning
3
down.
prizes. What else? Somebody else. got
There is a
something?
risk to starting the fire too, so be careful. You know.
Yes.
So if I fail my fire hurry up, is that when we have to fix the grill?
No, that's different.
No, that's a
Oh,
different thing.
okay.
If you fail your fire up, you lose some of your recipe value because you burnt your food, so it isn't worth
Ah, burn
You
the food.
burnt it.
Okay, okay.
as much. Burnt it.
Okay.
So
Next, anything else anybody seen? Come on.
You
A
want
lot
to name
of
any
things
more
in
without
there.
being given hints?
which game has? I'll go to the bottom because it's the one that has the loosest, tenuous link. Which Barry game has 4 top lanes that, when you collect them, enhances the playfield X? It's older.
I don't even know that.
It's older. Comet, thank you very much. Yes.
I think it's the same person.
Yes.
Gotta give
Someone
'em two
knows their
shirts.
Barry games.
We'll give you 2 shirts, but you gotta wear them both.
So I put Comet and Cyclone as one because Cyclone also has the 3 top lanes which double the playfield. So, but in Barry O's Barbecue Challenge, let's go to the top. When you complete the very top lanes, the boss lanes, that enhances the playfield X.
Yes.
Not chef, boss.
Boss.
Right.
So,
Chef
like
is easier.
Barracuda, boss is controlled by the left flipper. Chef is controlled by the right flipper.
So
They
take
both go
that,
backwards.
take that and reverse everything you just heard.
Right.
Am I
Take
wrong?
Barracuda and reverse everything.
Yes.
Still blows my
'Cause
mind.
I felt like it.
My brain can't follow this. Like, I'm not good at it. I just flail the flippers and hope I
Okay.
get one.
All right. What else,
So,
guys?
related to Playfield X, Playfield X, Playfield X. All right.
An easy one. No one
There's
said
an
the-
easy one.
Not
It's on
an
the
easy
ramp.
one.
Come on.
The Playfield X ramp. Why does the Playfield X
But-
ramp look like
Huh?
this?
I heard it.
It's
Doctor
Who?
Who.
Yes, the Doctor Who Playfield X
1.5,
ramp.
2, 2.5, 3.
Where
Fully
is-
counts down as you stop hitting them.
Yes.
That is, yes.
Yeah,
Welcome to Doctor
we told
Who.
you we pay you for hitting that ramp.
That is why you're paid for that. Not only is the Playfield X there, you also can earn the equivalent of the Doctor 6 power-up as part of this game. You can earn the equivalent of the Doctor 1 power-up as part of this game. You hit a barbecue pit target, and it will spot you another one. That is already in the game, so you can actually do that now. All right, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty now, right?
All right, guys. Anybody else?
One I can understand that you will not know unless you really look at what's happening in the multi-ball as far as the numbers. I might have to give you this one, but it's my favorite
Well, we're
multi-ball.
not giving them away, remember? If
Oh,
they can't get it,
but-
they have to go figure it out on their own. We're not giving them all away.
But there's also double or nothing. Jackpot.
Jackpot.
Yes. Jackpot. So, in the multi-ball, right? In jackpot, you start at 50 million, and then you go up from there. 50, 75, 100, and so on. In Barry O's Barbecue Challenge, you start with whatever number you put in there. It is up to you when you want to go for it.
That's
Do
right.
you want to press on? I'm at 2 million. I'm at 3 million. Do you want to press on? Let's make a deal, Monty. What do you want? I mean, do you want to keep going? That is what this number is. I don't know, it's going to be hard to see. Yeah, that is what this number is on the bottom, staring at you all the time.
So talk about
The ones
this
that reset
for-
every ball, right?
Right.
That is what
That's
it
your risk
is.
reward.
So,
And this screen down there, Steve, just talk about it for 2 seconds. This is basically the player's interactive screen, right?
we only have a couple minutes left. So.
Okay, all right, move on.
But yeah, it helps you to cook better by helping you to not look up at the other screen as much. So yeah. So 2 left. And these are the 2, I guess, less obvious. Yeah. One is really less obvious because there's only one thing in there. The way the skill shot moves on there, pay attention to that. And also the grill malfunction hurry up and where the ramps are and where the barbecue pit targets are. So it's kind of
There's your hint to go figure those out.
those last 2, they are Barry games, and we will leave them closed for now.
Do you want to take any quick questions before we get kicked off?
All right, because we're going to get kicked out soon because we're
Well-
delayed earlier, but yeah.
We're doing okay. We got a few minutes, but let's talk about just a couple of things that we also threw on there. The artwork, the stuff that we hid in the artwork a little bit more. Of course, if you look at the side of the back box, you will see a license plate, which we don't have it up here.
I have it here, yeah.
But if you look at the license plate, it will say barbecue sauce. The name on the bottom of that says Sheridan. Sheridan was Barry Oursler's brother who worked with him at Williams and then went to Stern Pinball and unfortunately died a year before Barry. So we thought the brothers worked in pinball, we should give a little tribute. Also, on the back of the side of the cabinets, on both sides, there is a Kathy and Barry on one side and a little heart that we basically made it look like Barry carved it into the side of the cabinet. And on the other side was Donna and Barry. So we're paying tribute to the people that Barry loved very much. You're welcome.
Thank you.
We basically agonized and went through his 46 or 47 game career and come up with all the notes and everything you shared with him, Steve, to come up with Barry O's Barbecue Challenge. And to name it, it took, I think we were sitting there, we knew we were going to call it Barbecue Challenge. And originally, Barry and I had used the thought we were just going to call it Barbecue Challenge, and then we were going to leave it kind of open for, different companies, different barbecue places, they could put their own name in.
Flavor Town.
But when we lost Barry, we said, we'll just call it Barry O's. It sounds right. And I think Zovia said, that's it, we're done. And I think we all just said, okay, Barry O's Barbecue Challenge. So we were excited about that. So guys, do you have any questions about barbecue? I mean, I know a lot of people are hungry after they play the game, so that was in the tent. Come on, there's gotta be some questions. Any questions?
With our 1 minute left, right?
We got a minute or two, we didn't start
Who
right
wants to be
away.
the star for that 1
Go
minute?
ahead. Absolutely, yes. So thank you for that question. The new American Pinball board system is coming out with all of these games. And that system, we made the announcement, is backwards compatible. Right now, we are backwards to Hot Wheels, Galactic, and Legends of Valhalla, and we're working on Oktoberfest. Houdini's going to be a little bit of a mystery for us, but we're going to get to that at some point. Understand that this shows the length and longevity of American Pinball. We've been in development of a new board system for over, I'm going to say about a year and a half. And then we put it under Casey's control for the last 8 months, which has been driving the poor man nuts. Because understand that when we designed our first games, we had a board system that we were using. And as time progresses, that chip that's on that board has now keeps getting to the point of aging out, and it gets harder. So for us to come up with our own board that could literally plug in and be backwards compatible saves the longevity and the life of the company, because now if you had a Hot Wheels, you can still buy a new board system and put it in your thing, even if I don't have boards anymore. We wanted to continue to support the customers.
May I have a word before we finish?
Yeah, absolutely, go.
Right. And this will be my last word. Is that one of the things that I revealed during a previous meeting here, I think it was here or wherever, is that one of the things that Barry took me to that really meant a lot to me is that Barry took me to the gun range to shoot his weapons. Okay? Yeah, so yeah, that's what he did. So that really meant a lot to me. So I'll just end it on this. That,
I've been wondering what these are. They've been sitting in front of me the whole time.
Oh.
Let's say.
Oh, we got Barry's shooting targets.
This is how it started. Okay.
Not bad.
Who shot is that?
Let's say it got a little better as it got further away.
And then you got some pointers.
And I got some more pointers from Barry using his weapons, which was fantastic. And let's say that it got a little better in the day.
Oh, nice.
And then
Threw a 2.
Then Barry shot?
Is how it ended. Very much better.
Very
Right
nice.
there, that's the entire barbecue development cycle. Right there.
Pop.
That's exactly how it went. Give her a microphone.
You go. Yeah, right there right there. Yeah, go ahead.
Companies that didn't, oh, there we go. Barry worked so many years on so many games at so many companies that the games never came out. And it broke my heart and it broke his heart. So I can't thank you enough for doing this for him so that his legacy lives on and that the new players out there will get to play one of his games. So thank you so much. It means so much to us.
Thank you, Kathy.
And for the company, Kathy, I will just say it's an honor, and we're very thankful. And Barry touched us all in a little special way. I mean, guys, we're in an industry where are we going? What's the price tags? Where are we going with games? How is it going to play out? Is it fun? And I have to say that everybody who's been playing barbecue has absolutely come back to me and said, this is fun. This is a good shooter. This is a fun little game. This is kind of a sleeper. And with a lot of help from Mr. Bowden on the rules.
A lot of help from Mr. Bowden. Give it up for Steve Bowden. This would not be happening if he were not here.
And that's why you have a co-designer on that. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Mr. Ryan McQuaid with the bash locks. And then I can't say enough about Zofia, Jack, Dennis, the whole little team at American Pinball. I take my hat off to them every day, and I might be the school. I call myself the principal or the babysitter, but for the most part, these guys just knock it out of the park, and they just do their job, and they wanted to do this, and we're very thankful. So, all right, guys, thank you very much. Enjoy barbecue, enjoy it, play it. Tell your friends about it, and tell your friends how much you enjoyed it, too.
It's going to be a tough act to follow.
Thank you very much for coming.